Hey, everybody. Great to be with you today. Chuck Cook, Jesse Bless is with me, but he's taking the son to baseball practice, as every good dad should. So we're going to be talking today and giving folks an update about each of the cases. We're going to start with the 39 country ban case in Georgia, because I just filed the TRO in that case for our folks that prepared declarations for their work authorizations. What a TRO is a little different than a PI. TROs tend to have more urgency for judges, and particularly since the judge in our case invited us to do this quite plainly. Zach prepared a great draft. I finalized it. Jesse put his input in, and we filed it with really some great declarations. Now, we have already emailed this out to the plaintiffs in the 39 country ban case. There's a TRO, and then there is the exhibits. We did not send you the exhibits because they are everybody's declarations. In the TRO itself, we actually used three of the wording from three of the declarations, and I believe the names were redacted. At least hopefully Drew got that done before it went out. And just to set an example, and we invited the judge to read each of these. You did a great job on the declarations. And hopefully we'll hear something relatively quickly, since it is a TRO. That's kind of the status of that case. Jess, do you want to update us on the Maryland cases?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had a conversation, or at least we've tried to have a conversation with them. We have a PI filed. Their due date, if it's not the end of this week, it's the beginning of next week. And around the world we go here, because it does not look like USCIS is willing to concede anything on any of these cases. I think they're playing the delay game. And yeah, I mean, and then Zach had a hearing this afternoon in the Colorado case, if we're pivoting
Right.
through all the cases. So,
And that's why Zach's not here. I think he may still be in oral argument.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there's not a lot of difference in a lot of the litigation. I mean, the Dorcas case is pending. There's a couple class actions that are pending. The only thing that's really the same are the judicial decisions. It's that second part that's getting really hard, which is delivery of the cards. And or the benefits. We had a number of people. I know a lot of people are going to ask this question. Well, I had an interview and then it was canceled. I can tell you, just not working on ImmPact cases, but my own cases, that has been something that USCIS is doing to a lot of people. I don't think it's intentional, other than it's intentionally dysfunctional, because I think they're trying to show courts that they're working on it, or working on cases, but judges are not really buying it. And then I think in my opinion, I think that's why they're just saying, well, all right, let's cancel them then. But I don't know.
Thinking about that in the context of Judge Grimberg, who basically was willing to give the government the kind of benefit of the doubt on timing. We're a month after. It's been almost a month since his decision, and nothing has happened. I mean, basically, he threatened them with the EADs, right? He actually threatened them, and they still didn't move. I do not think he's going to be happy. I really don't with this, and I hope he gives us a chance for oral argument. I'll do that oral argument. I'm going to fly Zach out for that. But it's certainly frustrating. We do know that even on the physicians, where a month ago they promised they were going to give them their EADs, nothing. Yeah. Nothing at all. We have several physicians in our group that we filed. Well, at least one of them was in the TRO today. And I think the judge is going to resonate, because she has a really great problem from the context of hardship. So I think that'll make a big difference today.
Well, it's so frustrating too, because I had a conversation with the U.S. Attorney's Office in San Diego. We did get some physicians some cards quickly because they had a residency program. Then I have a case in D.C. I say, hey, this seems to be an exemption. This is great. Let's get these doctors back to work. And then they fought me on a PI, and then we got a really good order in that case. But it would just make sense for USCIS to just tell us what is true and what is not. And that's the hardest part, because you and I are getting the questions from the clients, but to be honest, we're not hiding anything. The USCIS
No,
is just not, USCIS is not being consistent.
I don't even think they're speaking to their lawyers, honestly.
Yeah.
What
Maybe.
we both talk to different lawyers, different U.S. attorneys around the country. They will never divulge anything, right? But
Well,
I've done this for years. You get the
yeah.
clear impression they're not being told stuff.
Well, it's the other thing too. So there's the physician exemption, and then there's the dual national exemption. And
Oh yeah,
I know you represent a lot of employers, but I have a lot of employers come to me and saying, "Hey, I filed this H-1B with premium processing. He's a Canadian, born in Iran or born in Venezuela.
yeah.
Why isn't this getting adjudicated?" And I said, "It's a great question. I don't think that what they're telling some courts are actually what is happening in practice."
Oh, no, I actually think they're lying. Actually, and it's the client that's doing the lying. And the U.S. attorneys, I don't think they're being told the truth. I really do not believe they're being told the truth. And the client, which is the USCIS, is playing hide the ball. And then, of course, you had Mark Wayne's comments today that people interpret this and he wouldn't follow court orders.
Yeah.
I don't think he's smart enough not to follow court orders, honestly. So I wouldn't worry about that. Jesse, I did just find out that apparently the adjustment of status memo is not being implemented right now. It's kind of on hold in all the district offices until they can figure out how to implement it. Just found that out from an officer. So
Yeah,
there is that.
Well, that's great. That's great news. I mean, I think that they, but I will say that that's a great example of when they start to pick on everybody, then we have we can really turn things around, and we need more employers to step up on behalf of people who are suffering without regard to nationality.
Yep. So
Because
Greg
that one picked on everybody, and it was really a lot of congressional offices got calls.
Well,
Jesse,
and Greg has just joined us. Greg,
I was going to say Jesse lives on some island that has no internet.
no, Jesse's driving his son to baseball practice.
Anytime you're on it, it's like we have trouble.
So I want to jump over to our DV
This is the worst.
2026. Want to jump to our DV 2026 litigation. It's briefed. I mean, so Jess, I have a question for you. If you can hear me.
Yep.
Okay, so the question is there a way to reach out to the court's clerk and say, hey, would the judge like a hearing on this?
I think, can you? Yes. I don't know that that's something I would recommend. Right? If the judge has to set a hearing and that's going to delay a decision, do we think we need a decision? An argument? Do we think we missed something?
Well, I don't think we need the argument. And hopefully he thinks we don't need an argument on this case.
Yeah.
But it's fully briefed. All right. I mean, we're there.
Yeah, I don't know that we want to be asking to spend time before him. I think our papers were good enough. If he's confused, he can always ask us and bring us down. But I think that the difficulty we have with DV is September 30th is 3.5 months away.
Right.
And we need to get this thing moving. And we did it as fast as humanly possible. So I don't know that asking him for a hearing would be helpful to the clients.
Well, it might. He's not going to have an opening on his calendar tomorrow. He'd probably set it 2 or 3 weeks out, easy.
Yeah.
And again, he has to write a decision. He's got controlling case law in his district, and Judge Leon writes really good decisions. So hopefully he's writing that right now. But it's not like you can call the clerk at the local store and say, hey, what's going on there? Tell me all about it. It doesn't happen in courts.
Well, I will say with DV, I've seen a lot of consular interviews happen, and for the adjustment of status applicants, I am seeing people get interviewed at USCIS. And so I have actually a client that I represent, and she got an interview notice in my my question to the U.S. attorney was like, if you're going to spend so much time and effort and money interviewing her, why not go all the way? And I think that's the question that the judge is going to, have to help us with, because they're pretending as if it's business as usual, but they won't finish.
Well, and we know they're not going to. I mean, they publicly stated they're not going to finish. So, unless
Right.
they have settled random stuff around the country, random cases. We found out, an offer about one today, but it's haphazard. It's not consistent, and it doesn't help the general person who needs to get this approved. So, and clearly they're just trying to bide time, so we run out the clock. They're clearly trying to do that. Now, complicating, of course, the DV litigation is Rubio's announcement that they're going to shrink the number of consulates in Africa from 50 to 20.
Right.
That's a nightmare. I mean, it's a nightmare for Africans. Some of the biggest users of the DV lottery out there. So, I mean, that's kind of, just keep that in mind. We're aware of that. A judge can't order the Secretary said open up consulates, but he can order them to adjudicate visas. So that's kind of where we are on this. On the 75 country ban case, that was great news out of Boston, Jesse. On the ULA case, I think it's called the ULA case, where a judge basically ordered an individual case, said this ban is junk. The Secretary of State has no authority. I mean, it's a really great decision. No authority to tell consular officers not to decide a case. It's a great decision. Ours is briefed. We're waiting on a decision there, and hopefully we will get that shortly. Hopefully. On the F1.
Wait, Jesse was saying something.
Actually,
Yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead, yes.
I think they actually are going to oppose our motion for summary.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So the government, we're not done briefing that case just yet.
Okay.
They have not opposed our motion for summary judgment, but that's good, because now we can use this Massachusetts case in our reply and put it right before the judge. So we're moving in the right direction.
That's good. That's in good shape. The F1 visa revocation is fully briefed on a motion to dismiss. And we're just literally waiting on the judge to make it. There's not really much we can do until the judge makes a decision. I know it's taken a long time. It's complicated cases. Hopefully the judge will make a decision shortly. In our favor. The $100,000 fee case, I hate to even bring this up. It's just like, we got nothing. I got nothing.
There was some news today that's sort of like tangentially related that you and I.
Oh yeah, some crazy news today from Mark Wayne again.
Yeah, he got. I mean, I'm happy that he got asked about the fee from Senator Collins, from Republican from Maine, and she was talking in her question about a doctor who is basically stuck and has not been able to get to Maine. And unfortunately for Mark Wayne, he was not too conversant on the issues. And first he said, there are these national interest exceptions that we're making. And
no, they're not.
She didn't press him on that, although we know that they haven't done that for any doctors.
Right.
And then he made this ridiculous statement that 200,000 people seem to have managed to afford the fee. And when I went back and sort of like in context listened to what he was talking about, it became very obvious that he was confused with the premium processing fees, which is even worse, because that means 200,000 people.
If there's 200,000 people that have paid
for fee processing that they're not getting.
Well, think about that. If some of them are 1,700, some of them are 2,900. Let's say on average that's $2,000 a person. If 200,000 people have done that, isn't that like $4 billion or $400 million? I went to law school, not math school, but I mean, that's an enormous sum of money.
Yeah,
an enormous sum of money. And actually, I think maybe we can use that in some of our briefing, where the government can say, Judge, the government has apparently received $4 billion in premium processing fees They're not even using those.
Right.
So, his own misspeak actually kind of helps us here. So that's kind of where we are. Now, I think that's all of the cases that we are.
Well, can I just to add on the $100,000 fee, the attorneys general case did actually have oral arguments last week on the 20. Well, it was on May 29th, so it was like since our last broadcast. And I read through some of the reporting about it. It was the judge didn't seem to be too super excited to support the government. On the other hand, he did make some comment at the end that's like, well, I don't know if I can, basically doubting his own authority on there. So I'm hoping that it all seems to come down to the question of whether he sees it as a tax or not. That seems to be the biggest argument that seemed to land. And if he doesn't view it as a tax, I don't think they're going to win.
I don't know how you cannot view it as a tax. I just don't get it.
I think that's right. But that's that seemed to be, that was my takeaway from those arguments.
All right. We got a few questions here. We don't have a lot. We have a few questions. Let's scroll up here. Amy Alicia, any updates on the 75 country pause? Jesse gave a great update about that. The government's opposing our motion, presumably going to oppose our motion for summary judgment. And then that is due, I think, early next week or mid next week. And then we will respond in a reply brief to that. So that's kind of, hopefully by early July, we have answers on that case. Leon, regarding DV Lottery 1.0, when you go to the clerk, will you push for hearing? We just talked about that. We don't really want a hearing, actually, when you think about it. We'd rather have a decision. So there you go. I don't expect a hearing. And this is not the last time we did this in 2020, 2019, this is a very novel issue. Not a novel issue anymore. It's already been decided. Are you guys planning to add a favorable PI ruling? We're going to put that in our reply brief. When will you start onboarding the next 75 country pause law? So that's a great question. We'll have to get back to you on that one. I don't think we're prepared to discuss that tonight, but let's say hopefully shortly. Hopefully shortly. We're kind of inundated right now. Georgia, the judge ruled for schedule a hearing. As I told you, if you are one of our Georgia plaintiffs, you should check your email because the TRO is in your inbox. And as we talked about, we didn't ask for a hearing, but if he gives us one, we want an expedited one. But I don't think he needs us to have a hearing, honestly. For the Maryland case, if the TRO is granted, how are you going to ensure they actually work on it? Because that's how it works. The government has a list of plaintiffs. The judge generally would ask for reports back in 7, 10, 14, 30 days on the status of each case. So the judge actually monitors enforcement of his orders.
Yeah.
Given that the freeze is Rosemary Marquez, freeze a blanket policy as a country inquiry through casework of having practical effect. I mean, I would say no, Greg, but it's a good way to show the judge that they don't even listen to Congress. What do you think?
I always think it's good to build up a record showing that you tried to do everything you could, but I don't think those efforts directly are going to solve problems.
No, I agree. David Cookie, can a motion be brought to the court? The U.S. preserves immigrant visas that will be unlawfully regarded as... No, unfortunately, there's already our case law on this, that visas cannot be preserved beyond September 30th. That's the good luck case. Given that published processing times don't reflect reality, what benchmark is the PI actually using for compliance? I don't know which case you're talking about, Rosemary. Are you talking about the 75 country case? I mean, the reality is the processing times are irrelevant at this point. They're irrelevant. Is a TRO only? TRO is only for work authorizations, not benefits. We made that clear to you.
And you didn't highlight. I mean, you didn't send that one up, so people don't know which one you're referring to.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the TRO in the Georgia case. It's only for EADs because the judge says he's going to look at the rest of it in 60 days, which is July 9th. And we'll be on top of that on July 9th. Rosemary, if U.S. says move our case after the PI is granted, but they will. The courts require government to respond to them and require mandatory reporting. Any data update from today's Colorado hearing? No, because Zach is maybe still there. In fact, my guess is Zach is still in court. It's only 4:30 out there. His hearing, I think, started at 2:00.
Yeah, he's there. I think it was like scheduled for all afternoon, wasn't it?
I think he's scheduled from 2 to 4:30. So Zach's probably still in the hearing.
Yeah.
And knowing Zach, he did great. Any updates? Zach is the only one there because Zach literally is down the street from the court.
Yeah.
And we all have other millions of things to get done, like filing the TRO today. For a 75-country ban Masood case, will you add the ULA? Again, we already talked about this. We will put it in our reply brief. Hello, I have dual citizenship. This is Johnny Johnson, born and raised in a non-banned country. Citizen banned your parents. Went to 45 interview, affected by the pause. So here's the deal, right, Greg? You're not supposed to be affected by the pause.
If you're a dual citizen,
really are. You're dual national.
I don't think it's they made a, quote unquote mistake. I think that's a deliberate policy that they have that's different, that they're applying differently than they are applying at the at the other agencies. They are definitely treating dual citizens as if they only have the one citizen.
That's true. I mean, USCIS is doing that.
That's in their documentation that they, that if you're a dual citizen, they're still pausing you.
What about plaintiffs from 75 countries who were included in the visa bulletin were unable to receive visa interviews because embassies suspended visa interviews? Again, we're asking for our plaintiffs to get interviews and then get adjudicated.
Yeah.
DK, how would it work? They're implementing policies that would result in increased applications like removing DS. AUS memo resulting. AUS memo, as I indicated, is suspended for now because one, it's illegal. Two, it's not based in any reality that we're aware of. Three, it ignores the primary case that says that if there's no negative factors, you're supposed to adjust somebody. So
yeah, and the adjustment stuff is still all. I mean, we've been hearing it from actual officers at USCIS that they're not implementing it yet, but we don't have any public communications on what they're doing.
Apparently, they told a New York Times reporter something, but don't know anything there either.
Yeah.
No judge is going to force the executive. Okay, judges can't force the executive to hire people, but they can put deadlines on applications, which of course means they'll just not do other work. They'll do the work, which is fine for our plaintiffs. That's what they want, that you want your work done. Okay. Yes, Zach went to the hearing alone. He was well prepared and well briefed and well practiced. So we didn't worry about Zach doing that.
You didn't put that one up.
Oh yeah, sorry about it. I clicked the button, it didn't go up. For the second case in Maryland, did you file a TRO? No, we can't justify a TRO. You can't justify a TRO. You file the PI, and the PI is filed. Okay? Simply file a PI. Boy, SFA 4023, you got it. We just simply filed a PI. ImmPact, do you think the statement from Mullen yesterday, same exempt, has any future? Well, do as I say.
Was it Lutnick or Witkoff? I forget which person. It was Lutnick. Like who's the Commerce Secretary?
It was Lutnick.
Lutnick. On 5 days after the proclamation, he went out and said in a press conference that they were doing an exemption for doctors, and that never happened. And they've never done anything. I do not believe anything. Even when they put it in writing, I don't believe anything until we actually see like that it's being implemented and followed. You just have to basically not trust anything that you're hearing that comes from an official source. That's just the only way that you can basically keep sane right now. Otherwise, you're just going to go bananas, like thinking that stuff is coming and it's not, or you're just going to believe that they have 5 people from the administration talking. They all have different things that they're saying.
So this guy, I'm a physician with an AOS interview scheduled later this month. Anything I should be prepared in particular other than taking an attorney with me? Can I say why you are not adjudicating my case? You can say anything you want in your interview. I would just listen to your lawyer who goes with you. Let your lawyer ask that question. Let the lawyer be the bad guy. Jesse keeps bouncing in and out, and I don't know why.
I think a lot of examiners are actually kind of embarrassed about the whole thing.
Oh, I think they're terribly
embarrassed. They're not your enemy here, and chances are they will probably be relatively cordial and friendly, even though and we think they're not asking questions right now about the announcements until they get more guidance. At least that was the word of what we were hearing in the last 24 hours. But you should basically, I think, talk to your lawyer and be prepared to discuss some of the things that might come up based on the policy. You shouldn't go in cold where you don't even where you're assuming that it's not going to come up at all. But it probably won't be an issue.
Understand that the officers can no longer approve an adjustment. Only supervisors can approve adjustment. What they'll say might say, I can't approve your adjustment. I'm going to recommend it. And we'll get back from you. And it might take
but they are adjustments are getting approved.
Right. But not in the interview. Not in the interview.
Right. We do. So it's not a complete freeze on.
No, there are adjustments getting approved.
Yeah.
Including some without interviews.
Yeah. So, we know that from our colleagues. We've been talking about that online.
And the truth is the department is asking for a budget cut. I wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I don't get Marco Rubio here. He was always Mr. Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
And now he's dismantling our primary foreign affairs branch. I just don't get it. And of course, it's intentional lowering legal immigration by not doing interviews abroad. It's all intentional. Crystal ball on the Haitian TPS.
Well, Chuck, we have a TPS case coming up from the Supreme Court sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Exactly. So I'm not holding my breath that SCOTUS is going to chastise the Trump administration for not.
It is. Yeah, that's one of the two immigration blockbusters that are coming, TPS and birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship will probably be the last decision of the Supreme Court, and it will be probably in the first week of July, if I had to guess. Yeah,
earliest the last day of June, but maybe it would be. And that's why I don't think they're going to overturn birthright citizenship right before July 4th, 250th anniversary of our country. I cannot believe.
I think they are constrained by the actual law here.
Oh, I think so. By the actual words of the Constitution and historical context.
Yeah, I don't see all six of those guys go. I
don't know if you saw the idiot Governor DeSantis's comment about, if that's true, then why do Indians have to have a special law? It's like, did you miss that day in con law about Native Americans? Did you miss that day? Crazy stuff. DACA question. No idea what it is, but by the way, Greg, I did talk today on my other live about DACA recipients who are beyond the 3.5 month and are losing their EAD should file a mandamus.
I had a consultation this morning with a gentleman, and it was horrible. That he's basically,
because they're undocumented. I mean, at that point they can get arrested, detained. So I filed a mandamus.
Yeah.
Chances of USCIS renewing $100,000 fee in September. What is your take, Greg Siskin?
I actually have this weird theory that they would like this whole thing to go away, but don't want to do it as a loss. And that would be if they could keep these cases from getting decided and then eventually let this thing, the clock run out on it, that they could declare that, okay, we tested the policy out and it was this big success and now we're reverting back. I'm more optimistic than most people out there. So I know you have the opposite view, but that's the way I view it. Is that's how they're gonna win.
Look, they've reduced H-1B applications by 200,000. They're gonna go. We can go lower, baby. They're renewing the fee. They're actually gonna do it.
But why haven't they done it already?
Well, it's not September. Why should they renew it before then?
Well, they can renew it. They could make it really clear what their intentions are.
No. They prefer
if they would have extended it, they would have had a lot fewer applications in the registration.
They prefer a Friday night surprise. Have any Iranians who hadn't had an interview before the pause implemented managed to become citizens? I know that two of Jesse's have. I think it was two of Jesse. Yeah, two of Jesse's, I think. He did individual cases for individuals. Update on the Colorado hearing? I don't know. Zach is still not with us. Let's see if he's texted us.
He would probably be jumping
No
on.
text from Zach. He's probably still in it. When can we expect a ruling on the PI case? You all to know by now that we cannot predict the date of a ruling. And we gave a separate update on that case, and we will give one next Wednesday when Zach is joining us. Maybe we can ask him to send the email out. Zach's really good about that. Send an email out to the Colorado plaintiffs with his take on what happened. Mahdi, please make a lawsuit to address the birthplace of the 39 country pause for dual citizens. I'm a PhD citizen, can't join them because I have no active application yet. Well, let's win some of these first, and let's go after that. What do you think, Craig? I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure it's needed to be in a separate suit to be able to accomplish the same.
I don't think so.
Same goal, but I mean, it probably would be a pretty sympathetic case.
I think so. If we had 100 dual citizens,
I mean, I think the judges would look at that as even better facts. And
can a plaintiff let me bypass the embassy backlog? Look, we're asking for our plaintiffs to be interviewed and approved. Period. End of story. If your number's current, we already know that they don't do these cases in number order. We already know that. It might be a general number order, but we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they do higher numbers many times before lower numbers. We know they do that. So that's what we're asking. Don't know what the judge will do, but that's what we're asking. Was the TRO for Maryland case, former Georgia case, filed for all plaintiffs? There wasn't a TRO filed. A PI was filed. You know a PI was filed because we sent you a copy of it. There you go. DACA question. I applied.
Yes, it was for all the Maryland plaintiffs. It wasn't for a subgroup. I think that was.
Yeah, it was for the Maryland case, and we filed a PI in the Maryland.
Right. He was asking if it was a subgroup of plaintiffs or if it was all of them, and it was all the plaintiffs.
All of them.
Yeah.
I applied for DACA. There's two Maryland cases, right? There's the former Georgia Maryland case and the other Maryland case, and they both have PIs pending.
Yeah.
I applied for DACA when I turned 18. Was approved 3 months after that. Before I was able to do these 3 months of waiting count as unlawful presence. Yes, they do. But now you don't have any unlawful presence. So you're not how many bars if you leave.
Yeah.
Since this is Tillman, since the H-1B filing season is almost over, well, that's true. And also the deadlines for residencies, academic terms are approaching. Is it possible to file TRO at least? No. Look, there's really nothing we can do to force a judge to make a decision. There's not. And we're not lead plaintiffs in that case, unfortunately. So it's not our call ultimately. It's part of a team effort. If USCIS site says marriage-based cases take 9 months to process in my country for 80% of the, how long after that we ask the judge to intervene if PI is granted? The day after 9 months.
Yeah.
So Hunter Biden, who is this guy? Johnny Johnson, consider withdrawing my 45 to concert because there is a dual national exempt for outside the country. Would this be a bad idea? Well, first of all, if you do that, if you haven't already done it, you'd have to file an I-824 to get consular processing.
How long are they taking on 824s right now, Chuck?
3 to 6 months, if you're lucky.
Okay.
If you're lucky. Then you have to wait for your interview. 3, 6, 9. I don't know how long it's going to take. Every country is different. I can tell you they're all slow. I would not withdraw the 485.
We have not advised any clients to do that at this point.
Curtis filed criminal authority. That's great that Curtis did that. We're also doing that with our reply brief. So the court is not considering our case right now. It's not before the court. There's just a PI file. Court hasn't read it. So we're going to put that as the kicker in our reply brief. Remember, Curtis is on a couple weeks.
We just got a text from Zach.
Curtis is a couple weeks ahead of us.
Check your phone. I think we just got a text from Zach.
Oh, okay. We got a text from Zach here. No, I did not get it. Oh, yeah, I did. Let's see. Oral arguments went almost all the way to 5 o'clock. So that's
3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. Holy jamoly.
Wow.
That's not a bad sign, actually.
Yeah.
That's not a bad sign. How do you plan to ensure adjudications? We already told you. Were you not listening earlier? We're going to get the judge to make sure and put them on a clock and make them accountable. TROs filed alongside the PI for former. No, there's no TRO, Mohammed. Get those words out of your brain. You don't qualify for a TRO. You qualify for a PI, and that's what's pending. I'm a little aware you guys are not forcing timelines for adjustments. Well, people in the hacking case are angry right now. Okay, well, we don't have a decision, so how can we force anything? So don't worry, we'll be on it.
And Jim doesn't like unilaterally get to make any of
The judge
it's based on what his judge wants to do. So
yeah, you guys need to give him a break. He's doing a great, got you in order, for God's sakes. Let him work it out.
I mean, people are angry at the lawyer.
Be angry at the immigration service, really. Why be angry at your lawyer? Are you special? I mean, really, be angry at the government. They're the ones doing this. Cut them a break. Anybody have any recent physician AUS interviews? I have one upcoming. What should I expect? Any plans for physicians only law?
I would go in with some of the documentation about the about extraordinary, even though we don't know for sure that they're going to ask any questions on that. I would still go in if you are working in an underserved area.
Bring a lawyer.
Yeah, if you're treating elderly patients, if you're doing anything where, I mean, just in general, being a doctor should be pretty good. But I would bring in some documentation about the kind of work that you do to help justify, even though we don't think you're probably going to get any questions.
Also, bring in the letter bring in the CNN article that said that they're going to adjudicate physician cases, but make sure you have a lawyer. ImmPact team, how do you ensure they process EADs? I will tell you how we ensure it. We've asked the judge to order the government, in his order in our case, to actually adjudicate and issue the EADs within 7 days. That's what we asked for. 7 days, fully possible. Not that many cases they fully can do it. Now, he might make it longer, but then we'll also ask that there be a report back on it. But I think he will put a timeline in there. We asked for it. Processing times are not accurate, and when you contact, they will tell you just keep waiting. Well, true. How will plaintiffs get their actual cases adjudicated? They're not following court orders. Well, first of all, where are you in the line? Are people that filed the same time as you approved, or are they still waiting too? Remember, before all this nightmare, most judges on adjustment cases were not considering mandamus actions unless the case had been pending for 2 years. Is your case pending for 2 years for adjustment? You know, you can't expect to be treated differently than other people who are similarly situated. That's what the big thing is with the government. Please keep the plaintiffs retained. You will not be targeted. Okay. Not imposing a deadline is just going to make USS make plaintiffs. Okay, I get it. We had this discussion, didn't we? Have any Iranians who hadn't had their interview before pause imminently managed to become citizens? I know of 2. There are probably more. Are you going to add ULA? Oh my gosh. I'm not going to answer that question because I already answered it 3 times. For cases where a preliminary injunction has been granted, not necessarily ImmPact cases, but similar ones, any clients actually received their EADs, or is it all of them? I don't know. They're not my cases. You should ask those lawyers and those plaintiffs. I'm sure they would love to deport even legal. I agree. This administration is awful. Greg heard any more about the JV as a physician issue?
They're not doing squat. That's what I can tell you. I know that the liaison committees for the immigration bar and the IMG task force, they're all asking and trying to communicate the issue, but nobody has anything positive to report.
All right. Somebody is talking about the NAFTA USMCA deadline to extend is July 1. I honestly know nothing about it. How will it impact the TN visas? Well, if they don't extend it, TN visas expire when they expire, and then you have to leave.
You know, that's like a sleeper issue that no one's talking about. That's the one to definitely watch. Thank you for flagging that.
Nothing you can do we can't force the U.S. government to do whatever.
But I don't think anybody in the media is covering that. No.
Can a carve-up be made for those in Georgia that have already been delayed or plead the judge request adjudicate what? You know, if there are people similarly situated that haven't been adjudicated that don't have a pause, then you have a complaint. But keep in mind, what we're trying to do is get rid of the pause and put you in the line where you should be.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should clarify. I mean, that's the key, is in the line. Right. Now, you can't say precisely when your case should be adjudicated because they don't provide the data that way. But we can definitely make arguments that if 80% of people are being adjudicated in a certain period of time, that your case should be, at this point, you would normally be expecting an adjudication, and you should be work just like the other 80% of people that filed at the same time as you. You could probably, I mean, we'll be able to make those kinds of arguments.
Good. Let's see, David, can a carve out be made for, I've already been delayed. Okay, so my case is still at NBC. They asked me to upload documents. Consulates in Western New York currently 2 months, would the H-24 still be required? Oh no, this is the guy who asked about changing to consular processing.
Yeah.
You mean, just make sure you leave the country when you withdraw your adjustment. Hopefully they don't put you in removal proceedings when you withdraw your adjustment, because we're seeing that happen too.
Yeah, and you can't leave a country when that happens without a voluntary departure. That's like a big mess. So you need to be
unless now if you still have a valid L, H, or L, you're still in valid underlying status, then you can cancel your adjustment. Nothing will happen. You can go. So should dual citizens even file N-400? I would not hesitate to file stuff. We got to hold the government accountable. You got to fight. Is it hard for people to understand what's going on, so they have to get their anger out somewhere? I agree. Well, don't blame the lawyers, okay? Don't be, really. Since I'm already part of the group lawsuit in Maryland, can I also file individual mandamus with Jesse? No. Well, if you want to file mandamus, you can go ahead and file a mandamus. You can file a mandamus, okay? So
Jesse's good at those.
Jesse's really good at those. In your second Maryland case, Zach filed a TRO. No, Zach filed a preliminary injunction in the context of a TRO, but it's a preliminary injunction case. About Maryland, Old Georgia. Why does the docket say motion for temporary restraining order filed? It's a preliminary injunction. It's a preliminary injunction. It's treated as both. It's preliminary injunction because we didn't ask for an immediate hearing. If PI granted, we can file mandamus if our case is still pending past the deadline indicated. You can always file a mandamus. I thought the DV case is fully briefed. It is. It is fully briefed. So I don't understand the question. How much will a personal lawsuit cost for a STEM OPT? We never talk about fees on our lives, period. Make an appointment with one of us and we can tell you. My brother's case got open. Should he leave the country? Have no idea what this means. 3 more questions, Greg. Unfortunately, underlying visa status has already expired after, so I can't leave. Yeah, you can't leave then. Because if you leave, they're going to cancel your adjustment and maybe put you in proceedings. I mean, they're completely insane. You think they have thought extra hard to be as mean as possible? Oh, no. They've been planning this for 4 years, people. They've been planning this for 4 years. They still have more to come.
Yeah.
I do have advanced parole approved already. Okay, well, if you can leave on advanced parole, then go consular process. I guess you could try that. I've never had anybody do that because it's insane, but you can do it. If you win your current countries, which I believe we will, how can they benefit me as a dual with no active application? That's why I asked to make a new dual one for citizens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll keep filing these as long as there seems like there's a need. So there'll probably be more rounds, but we don't have any actively to tell you about.
So the Maryland case is not going to be treated as an emergency motion. It's not an emergency motion. Nobody's dying. TROs, if they're going to execute somebody, they're going to deport somebody. I've lost my job and I can't get work. Those are TROs. Everything else is a preliminary injunction, period. That's how this system works. We explained this to you, okay? All right, next week we'll have Zach with us and hopefully Jesse. Greg, great to see you. Hope the ride today was good. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Have a great week. Bye-bye.